Chosen one. Have you noticed that every time abundance comes close, it slips through your hands like water? Have you felt that wealth doesn't comfort you, but instead exposes you, almost betrays you? This is no coincidence. This is not bad luck. This is the hidden money curse only the chosen carry. You didn't arrive here by chance. Heaven led you, and I must tell you, this message is urgent. What you've been wrestling with in silence, this pull between desire and fear, between overflow and emptiness, has a prophetic reason. Your spirit already knows it. That's why you're listening now. And by the end, the veil will lift. You will see why abundance has felt heavy, even dangerous, and you will finally understand why you were chosen to break free. But hear me, chosen one, the last truth, the one at the very end, is the most important. It's the secret most never discover, and it changes everything. So stay with me until the end. Do not let distraction pull you away, because this word is not just information, it is deliverance. Before we go deeper, if your spirit resonates, pause now. Like this video, subscribe, and type 777 in the comments, not as routine, not as habit, but as an act of faith. 777, the number of completion and divine alignment. Declare it now as a sign you're ready to break the curse. Chosen one, are you ready? Then let's go deeper. Part 1. The hidden curse of survival. Your first battle with money didn't begin in abundance. It began in survival. You weren't trained in overflow. You were trained in the wilderness. Think back on your journey. How many nights did you lie awake, stretching every coin like it was sacred? How many days did you walk into a store, not to buy freely, but to count the cost of every single item? How many times did you whisper, "If I can just make it through this week, maybe next week will be better"? Survival shaped your spirit more deeply than you realize. It's not only about money, it's about identity. It's about how you see God and how you see yourself. The wilderness is not a myth. It is a real spiritual season. Like Israel wandering under the hot desert sun, you've known what it means to wake up with only just enough strength to make it through the day, enough provision to survive the night, enough hope to believe for tomorrow, but never overflow, never security, never rest. Do you remember how God sent manna from heaven? Every morning bread appeared on the ground like dew, enough for the day but not for tomorrow. If stored, it rotted with worms. It was training, a discipline of trust, a daily test. Your life has mirrored this. When provision came, it came at the last moment. When help appeared, it was just in time. When doors opened, they opened on the edge of desperation. You were being trained, not punished, prepared, not abandoned. But hear this, living too long in survival creates a scar. It teaches the soul to expect lack. It programs the mind to distrust abundance. It whispers, "Don't dream too big. Don't hold too tightly. If it comes, it will be taken away." That is why when blessings approach, you feel nervous instead of safe. Why promotions feel heavy instead of joyful. Why money feels like betrayal. Because your nervous system has been wired for famine, not feast. The word says in Deuteronomy 8:3, "He humbled you, causing you to hunger and then feeding you with manna, to teach you that man does not live on bread alone but on every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord." Yes, the wilderness was a school, but you were never meant to stay there forever. You were meant to graduate. Think of this. A bird kept in a cage may one day be released. But if it has lived in confinement too long, when the door opens, it hesitates. The sky feels too wide. The wind feels dangerous. Freedom feels like betrayal, so it is with your spirit. You prayed for abundance. You fasted for increase. But when it came, something inside you pulled away. You felt undeserving. You feared it wouldn't last. And without realizing it, you pushed it back. This is the curse of survival. Philippians 4:19 declares, "My God will meet all your needs according to the riches of his glory in Christ Jesus." But the enemy twisted this in your heart. He whispered, God will only give you what you need, never more. He trained you to settle for survival, to mistrust overflow, to treat wealth as dangerous, even unholy. But listen closely. Survival is not your final identity. It is not your eternal portion. The wilderness was never meant to kill you. It was meant to strengthen you. You are not a child of survival. You are a child of promise. Look at Israel again. The manna was temporary. The scarcity was temporary. The wandering was temporary. But the land flowing with milk and honey, that was covenant. The wilderness was preparation for inheritance. And so it is with you. You were shaped in lack, but not condemned to lack. Trained in scarcity, but not chained to it. Humbled in survival, so you could carry abundance without arrogance. The wilderness taught you discipline. But now God is calling you higher, to the stewardship of abundance, because survival was not the curse. The real curse begins when abundance itself feels like betrayal. And that is where we must go next, because some blessings are poisoned, some wealth carries betrayal, and unless you discern it, you will repeat the pain of Judas, the man who sold destiny for silver. Part 2. The spirit of betrayal in abundance. You don't fear money because you don't need it. You fear it because, deep down, money has betrayed you before. Some of your deepest wounds are tied to moments when abundance appeared, only to cut you. It looked like blessing, it sounded like breakthrough, but inside it carried poison. Picture a golden cup shimmering in the light. On the outside, it looks like wealth, favor, prestige, but inside it's filled with venom. You drink, hoping for life, but instead you taste betrayal. That is what false abundance feels like. The Bible shows us this. Judas walked with Jesus, saw miracles with his own eyes, ate at the same table. Yet for 30 silver coins, he traded eternal glory for temporary gain. Money became his doorway to betrayal, and it cost him everything. Chosen one, you carry this scar in your spirit. Even if it wasn't silver coins, you've lived betrayal tied to resources. Maybe someone abandoned you when money ran out. Maybe you watched family turn against each other over inheritance. Maybe the moment you tasted overflow, attacks multiplied, friends shifted, peace vanished. And so now, every time abundance approaches, your heart trembles, because part of you believes, if I accept this, it will cost me something precious. You fear wealth will betray you, just as Judas betrayed his master. This is why abundance has never felt safe. It comes dressed as a friend, but you suspect it hides a knife. It promises freedom, but whispers captivity. And this fear, this wound, is the spirit of betrayal surrounding money. The Apostle Paul warned in 1 Timothy 6:10, "For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Some, eager for it, have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs." Notice, it's not money itself. It's the spirit tied to it, the obsession, the idolatry. That is the poison. But here's the trap. The enemy twisted this truth in your life. Instead of teaching you to discern the spirit behind wealth, he convinced you to fear wealth altogether. He whispered, "If you touch it, it will corrupt you. If you desire it, you will betray your calling. If you step into overflow, you will lose yourself." But that's a lie. God never called you to fear abundance. He called you to master it, to steward it, to carry it without bowing to it. Think of Joseph in Egypt, sold as a slave, betrayed by his brothers, falsely accused, thrown into prison. And yet, when the time came, Pharaoh placed wealth and authority in his hands. Joseph didn't worship it. He didn't betray God. He used it to save nations in famine. Chosen one, that is your calling too. To carry abundance not as a curse, but as covenant. To prove that wealth in the hands of the righteous can feed the hungry, build the kingdom, and glorify God. You are not Judas, you are Joseph. But first, you must recognize this fear for what it is, a scar, not destiny. Yes, betrayal came before. Yes, money has wounded you, but betrayal is not your portion. Covenant is. Psalm 37:25 declares, I have been young and now am old, yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. That is the truth you must cling to. You are not cursed to beg. You are not abandoned to scarcity. You are righteous. You are chosen, and abundance is your inheritance. But before you can walk in it freely, you must pass through fire. Because wealth is not gentle, it is a furnace. It refines, it exposes, it burns away what cannot remain. And that is the mystery you face next. The question is not whether abundance will betray you. The question is, can you withstand the fire that wealth brings? Part 3. The refining fire of wealth. Money is not evil. Wealth is not the enemy. But hear this clearly, money is fire, and fire reveals everything it touches. Think of gold. When it comes out of the earth, it's covered in rock and impurities. If you tried to wear it then, it would crumble in your hands. But in the furnace, fire strips away the dross. Only what is pure remains. This is what money does to the soul of a chosen one. It doesn't corrupt you. It exposes you. It magnifies what is already inside. If pride is there, money will shout it. If fear is there, money will feed it. If faith is there, money will multiply it. This is why God delayed certain blessings in your life. Not to punish you, not to ignore you, but because without the furnace of trials, the fire of wealth would have destroyed you. Remember Joseph. Before he wore the robe of authority, he wore chains of betrayal. Before Pharaoh's signet ring, he endured the silence of a prison cell. He was refined in fire before he carried treasure, and when abundance finally came, it didn't corrupt him, it elevated him. He fed nations in famine because the fire had purified his heart. Chosen one, you too have walked through fire. You have known betrayal. You have known loss. You have been stripped of everything, and though the enemy laughed, it was not your destruction. It was your purification. Every tear was fire. Every sleepless night was fire. Every rejection was fire. And now what remains in you is pure. Pure faith, pure obedience, pure dependence on God. Malachi 3:3 says, He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. He will purify the Levites and refine them like gold and silver. That is what God has been doing in you, sitting by your furnace, watching, guarding, ensuring the fire did not consume you, only refine you. Because He knew abundance was coming, and He wanted you ready. But here lies the mystery. Most see money as blessing or curse. But you, chosen one, must see it as a test. Because the fire of wealth won't only touch you, it will touch everything connected to you. It will test your relationships. It will test your motives. It will test your humility. It will test your loyalty to God. Think of Solomon. When wisdom ruled his heart, wealth became glory. Nations came to hear him. The Queen of Sheba marveled at his kingdom. But when pride entered, when idols whispered, that same wealth became his downfall. The fire exposed him. That's why you feared abundance, not because you hate it, but because your spirit knows it is fire, and fire changes everything. But here is the prophetic word. You are ready now. The furnace has done its work. What once would have burned you will now refine you. What once would have consumed you will now crown you. You will not bow to money. Money will bow to your calling. Hold this truth close. Wealth is never ownership. It is stewardship. It is not yours to keep. It is yours to manage for the kingdom. And this, chosen one, is the key that unlocks your next dimension. Luke 16:10 declares, Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. You proved faithful in lack. You proved faithful in tears. And now you will be entrusted with more, not for vanity, not for ego, but for divine purpose. But wait, before stepping into this key, I must warn you. There is a danger hidden in abundance, one most never discern, because blessing becomes a burden if not handled properly, and that is where we must go next. Part 4. The Key of Stewardship. Wealth is never simply given. It is entrusted. Money is not possession, it is assignment. It does not belong to you, it passes through you. And how you handle it reveals who you truly are. Imagine a vineyard. The worker doesn't own it. The master does. The worker doesn't decide what to plant or where the fruit goes. His role is to tend, guard, water, and multiply. If the vineyard flourishes, the master is pleased. If it withers, the worker is found unfaithful. This is how wealth works in your life, chosen one. You are not the master of money, you are the steward, and stewardship is the true test. Do you remember the parable of the talents in Matthew 25? One servant received 5 talents, another 2, another 1. The master left, expecting them to multiply what was given. The ones with 5 and 2 returned with double, but the one with 1 buried it in fear. And when the master returned, he was called wicked and lazy. Why? Because he saw money as possession, not stewardship. He buried what was meant to be multiplied. This is the danger of survival mentality. When you've lived too long with just enough, your instinct is to bury what you receive, to hide it, to clutch it, to guard it so tightly it cannot breathe, cannot multiply, cannot fulfill its purpose. And in the end, it betrays you. But hear this. Money was never meant to control you. It was meant to serve your assignment. It is a tool, not a master. It is a seed, not a god. And when you treat it that way, abundance no longer feels like betrayal. It feels like alignment. Think of the early church in Acts. They sold possessions and distributed to anyone in need. They saw wealth as a river, not a dam. It flowed through their hands, and because of it, no one among them lacked. That is stewardship. Wealth flowing, never stagnant. And when it flows through you, it blesses everything it touches. Luke 16:11 warns, "If you have not been trustworthy in handling worldly wealth, who will trust you with true riches?" Do you see it, chosen one? Money is the least test. If you cannot handle the physical, how will you be trusted with the spiritual? If you cannot multiply coins, how will you multiply souls? This is why God allowed you to face lack. It was never about survival. It was about stewardship. He wanted to see if you could be faithful with little before releasing much. And here is the key. Stewardship is not about how much you have. It's about how you use it. You can be wealthy with $10 if you treat it as sacred. You can be poor with 10,000 if you waste it. The curse is broken when you no longer see yourself as owner, but as vessel. Chosen one, abundance will come. Doors will open. Increase will flow. But heaven asks, will you hoard it or multiply it? Will you worship it or master it? You are called to be a Joseph in your generation, feeding nations, sustaining families, building legacies. But that calling requires discipline, clarity, and faithfulness. This is why abundance has felt heavy, because it carries responsibility. It is not play, it is purpose. And here lies the transition, because stewardship unlocks abundance, yes, but even deeper, there is a hidden curse, the one that keeps many bound. It is not about money. It is not about wealth. It is about you, your own reflection, your own identity, your own hands betraying yourself. Unless you break this last chain, abundance will always feel like exile. This is the final betrayal, self-sabotage. Part 5. The final betrayal, self-sabotage. The deepest curse is not money. It is not abundance. It is not even betrayal from others. The deepest curse is the betrayal you commit against yourself. Listen closely. Every time abundance approaches, you sabotage it. Not because you want to, not because you reject blessing, but because deep inside, there is a war of worthiness. Picture a crown shining with jewels, crafted for a king. It's placed gently on your head, but instead of standing tall, you shrink. The crown feels too heavy, too sacred. You whisper, "This doesn't belong to me. I'm not worthy." So you take it off and hand it back. This is the curse of self-sabotage. The prodigal son knew this curse. He received his inheritance early, but because his heart was not ready, he wasted it on reckless living. Not because money was evil, not because blessing was false, but because he could not yet see himself as a son. He believed he was unworthy, so he lived like a slave in freedom. Chosen one, this has haunted you. You've prayed for doors to open, asked for overflow, and when it came, you pushed it away. Opportunities came, but you delayed. Connections came, but you doubted. Blessings came, but you said, "This won't last. I don't deserve this." Without realizing it, you betrayed yourself before money could ever betray you. Romans 8:17 says, "Now if we are children, then we are heirs, heirs of God and co-heirs with Christ." Do you hear it? You are an heir, not a beggar, not an outsider, not barely surviving, but a co-heir with Christ himself. Yet the curse of self-sabotage blinds you to this truth. Think of Gideon. When the angel of the Lord called him a mighty warrior, Gideon's first response was disbelief. He looked at his tribe, his family, his weakness, and he said, "How can I be chosen? I am the least of the least." He wore a crown in heaven, but rags in his mind. This is you, chosen one, mighty yet calling yourself weak, chosen yet calling yourself unworthy, an heir yet living like a slave. This is the final betrayal. Not money, not others, but the self that refuses to believe what God has already spoken. And until you confront this betrayal, abundance will always feel dangerous. It will feel heavy. It will feel like exile. But I declare this curse breaks now. You will no longer hand back your crown. You will no longer waste inheritance. You will no longer call yourself unworthy of what heaven already wrote in your name. Chosen one, repeat this in your spirit. I am worthy because he calls me worthy. I am chosen because he calls me chosen. I am an heir because his blood makes me an heir. I will not betray myself again. But listen carefully. The journey doesn't end here. Because everything we've spoken, the wilderness, betrayal, fire, stewardship, the self, has led to one final revelation. The greatest truth of all, the one most never discover, the one that changes everything. And that truth is coming now. Stay with me, because this last key will break the curse forever. Chosen one, we have walked through the wilderness together. We have seen the manna of survival. We have tasted betrayal. We have felt the fire of refinement. We have carried the weight of stewardship. And we have faced the deepest wound, self-sabotage. But now comes the final revelation, the one heaven brought you here to receive, the one your spirit has been waiting for. The curse was never in the money, never in abundance, never in the blessing. The curse was in the belief that you were unworthy of overflow, that survival was safer than inheritance, that abundance would betray you. Hear me, chosen one. You were never cursed. You were always chosen. Chosen to be refined. Chosen to be tested. Chosen to carry wealth without bowing to it. Chosen to walk in abundance without losing yourself. Everything you endured, the wilderness in storms, betrayals, was not punishment. It was preparation. Every empty night prepared you to honor fullness. Every broken season prepared you to guard blessing. Every betrayal prepared you to steward abundance with purity. You are not the prodigal wasting inheritance. You are not Judas trading destiny for coins. You are Joseph, refined by fire, elevated to steward. You are Gideon, called mighty even when you felt small. You are Israel, leaving the wilderness and stepping into the land flowing with milk and honey. Chosen one, abundance is not betrayal. Abundance is covenant. It is not exile. It is inheritance. It is not punishment. It is fulfillment. And today, that covenant awakens in you. Lift your spirit and declare, I break every curse of lack. I renounce every lie that tells me I am unworthy. I embrace my identity as heir of God and co-heir with Christ. I walk not in fear, but in stewardship. I walk not in shame, but in covenant. I walk not in scarcity, but in overflow. I am chosen, and I will never betray myself again. Yes, this is your turning point, your awakening. This is where the wilderness ends and the promised land begins. If this word pierced your spirit, act now in faith. Like this video, subscribe, and in the comments, type, "I am chosen for overflow." Not casually, declare it as covenant, as the first step into your inheritance, and share this message with another chosen one who must break free. Not everyone will understand, but those marked by heaven will recognize it instantly. Beloved chosen one, you didn't stumble here. Heaven placed this word before you. Your survival wasn't random, it was preparation. Your abundance won't be betrayal, it will be testimony. So rise, step into covenant, carry the overflow. For you were never cursed, you were always chosen.